Hello fellow AFOLs and welcome to Long's Bricks. Today we are taking a look at LEGO Star Wars Set 75366, the 2023 LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar. It has 320 pieces and retails for about $45. Now, I know Christmas is long gone and this set is old news at this point, but I recently got it on Amazon for $24 and I feel like, half price, the value is definitely there. Now, a couple of the sets, these little builds, the micro builds, not really that interesting to me, but there are a couple of great minifigures in here and I kind of just wanted to take a quick look at it just to kind of, show why I think that value is there for the 24. The main draw for me was the Omega minifigure because the only way to get Omega right now besides this Advent Calendar is the Cad's Bane Justifier set, which is about 160 bucks. Now, I did have an opportunity to pick it up at half price on Target a while back, and I decided not to. The ship just doesn't really impress me all that much, honestly. They focused a lot on the landing gear, and I kind of would rather have other parts of the ship open up and be able to store minifigures, just my personal preference. But there are a couple of great minifigures in there, and maybe one day I'll kick myself for not picking it up for half price. But I just thought this is a way you can get an Omega, to go with your Bad Batch Marauder set if you picked that up and you have, most of the cast of that show in that set, but you still need Omega and you don't want to drop $160. Just kind of stalk Amazon. Now, as of the recording of this video, it has gone back up to around 30, which still isn't bad, depending on how much value you place on, what else is in this set. But I thought, there's a couple of other good minifigures in here that we'll see. We got the 212th Clone Trooper, can always have more of them. The Battle Droid can always have more of them. And we got a Christmas Ewok. I mean, why not? Ewoks are fun. I'm not a huge fan of, the various characters in the Christmas sweaters. I don't hate it, but it's not something that immediately catches my eye. But I just thought, for what you get in here for 24 bucks, especially with the Omega minifigure, I thought it was definitely worth checking out. So I'm going to open it up quick, and we'll take a look at everything and kind of assess if I, got scammed or not, if the $24 was worth it. Alright, so here's all 24 days fully assembled, so we'll kind of go through and I'll start to assess what I think is really worth having out of this. First and foremost, we have the Omega figure. Now, she comes with a little sled. I don't really care about the sled all that much. I mean, it's not bad. It's a fun little build. Not too much to it. But as far as I can tell, I've tried to compare this to the Omega that comes with the Justifier. I think it's almost exactly the same figure. So, usually I was afraid that this was going to have some kind of Christmas decoration to it or something like that. But I believe this is just the exact same Omega figure. It does have an alternate face there. So this is great. This is a way to get Omega for around 25 bucks and not have to buy that giant set. So this is definitely a win for me. I can put this with my Marauder set when I eventually build that, and that'll be great. So I'm really, really happy to have that. I'll pop her back on the sled here for the moment. Otherwise, for other minifigures here, now these are two separate builds. You get the throne as one build, and you get Emperor Palpatine here as a second build. So he does come with a Force Lightning piece, which is kind of neat. You have the standard Emperor face, no pupil edition. And then he does have a second face as well. And then he's got this Christmas sweater on. I mean, it's a unique piece. It's an ugly Christmas sweater with the Death Star on there. It's kind of neat. I mean, it's definitely not something that I would buy specifically for this alone, but I don't mind adding it to the collection. It's kind of a fun little thing. And I do like the little throne. I mean, if you have an Emperor figure in your collection, more than likely he came in a set that had some kind of throne for him to sit in. So not necessarily something new to buy, but if you just wanted to kind of put this out as a little decoration or something around Christmas time, could be fun there. The next minifigure here is the little Christmas Ewok, which I like a lot. I don't have many Ewoks in my collection. I think I only have like one, maybe two. So always happy to add another, and I think the coloring here looks pretty good. Now, this is another build, and this is supposed to be some kind of glider, but the way that they've built this, the Ewok can't really grab onto this because he's got this giant, section here on the front and in the back because of how the headpiece is one solid piece and attaches to the body. So the directions, well, I shouldn't say directions because that is another thing that I don't like about these. The directions are not very thorough. They show half builds, and I kind of wish that they would just show you the pieces involved and make it a little easier. But it's not super difficult, but it's just not the best directions for these advent calendars. But you have to put the arms all the way back. This is how it's shown on the front of the box. and then it's supposed to be some kind of glider. It's really minimalistic. It's a very basic build, and I don't know why you would put your arms all the way back like that. To me, I would rather kind of put the arms forward and try to do something like this, but it doesn't really work with the piece that they've used. And honestly, the way the arms are, you almost can't even reach both of these because it's too wide of a piece. So just all in all, I don't think this is really worth it all that much. I do like the little Ewok, so we'll put him over here to the side. What else should we go through? So we have a Hailfire droid. Kind of a fun little build. Honestly, not terrible, not amazing. It's really just up to you if you care about these super tiny little micro builds. And the thing is, like, they have the old MIDI scale, and now they have the new, I think, Starship Collection it's called. I don't know if these would even scale with those. I mean, some might. Obviously, these like little Star Destroyers and whatnot aren't going to, but something like a Hailfire droid might scale with something like that. Then again, maybe not. You'd have to check the actual, you know, do some research on how big these things were in universe. But that's why I don't really love these little advent calendar builds, because they just don't really do anything for me. They don't really fit in any kind of size class. They don't work with minifigures. They don't work with the MIDI scale. They just kind of are here, and I usually end up just kind of throwing them in a bag and never looking at them again. So the little Star Destroyer, very basic. Don't really need that for anything. I'll give a pass to the Hailfire droid just because it's kind of cool. Along the same lines, you have a little ATT here, or AAT, and it's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But again, doesn't really do much for me personally. I would much rather have like the AAT from the Polybag, something like that. It's a little bigger. Let's see, I'll save that. We do have the Justifier, since I mentioned it earlier, and you have this piece that can kind of go down if you want that to, I guess that's how the landing gear works. I'm not really 100% sure how this is supposed to work, but it's a decent little build. Again, doesn't really do much for me personally, but it's a nifty little build there. So along the same lines here, we have a turbo tank, which to me is weird because the wheels are so high up that you have, you know, the base of the brick down here. So that, you know, I wish the wheels touch the ground, let's put it that way. But okay, it's a turbo tank. But I feel like if you just showed this to someone who's not super familiar with Star Wars, they might not know what it's supposed to be since the wheels are so high up. Although, I guess turbo tank's not the most recognizable vehicle from all of Star Wars. In any case, it's an okay build. I don't think it's that great. Let's see. We have a little speeder. This is actually kind of neat. And I would say like the second half of the advent calendar very much skews towards Return of the Jedi. So you have like this little speeder. You have the bunker, the shield bunker from Endor. And along with that, you have like the dish that they have to explode to take the shield down so that the Space Forces can blow up the Death Star. You have, I'm assuming this is supposed to be an Ewok village, but I mean, this just looks like a table with some stuff on it. It is really not the best here. Again, I get what you're going for. It doesn't really do much for me. I will say I kind of like the little ATST. He's kind of, they have you build it like mid-stride. So I don't know. This one, again, it's a scale that doesn't really work for me, but I kind of like it. I just think it looks neat. Let's see, what else do we have here? Then we have this Lambada class shuttle that, I don't know, just seems comically too big. I mean, maybe that really is how big the fin is, and it's kind of neat that you can pop these up so it can land, which is kind of cool. I'm on the fence about this one. Like, the more I look at it, I start to like it a little bit more, but when I first built it, I just thought the proportions were really weird. But it's growing on me a little bit. It's not terrible. Again, not in a scale that I can do anything with, but it's kind of neat. I might put that over here on this side. Let's see. We'll start going. We'll leave some of these minifigures for last. This is the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter. Not bad, honestly. As far as the little builds go, I kind of like this one. This is up there with the ATST for me. You know, again, this little tiny scale, but I kind of like this one. I just think that it's one of the better built ones, we'll say that. And then we have this. I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a moose or a reindeer out of a Gonk droid. But aren't gonk droids usually taller than they are wide? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. It kind of works. It's not terrible. But yeah, I don't need a reindeer-looking gonk droid for anything, but it's kind of funny. Then we have this little pit droid done in Christmas colors. Not terrible. He comes with a large sack, but he really can't hold it because you can't bend it down or else it'll pop out of his hand. So he has to kind of hold it straight forward like that, which looks really awkward. But, you know, I mean, if you just wanted a little pit-type droid and you didn't really care about the color scheme, you could maybe utilize this as kind of another minifigure. Kind of, very basically. So we'll put that over here. Again, with the Return of the Jedi, we have Leia here in her camouflage that she wears on Endor. And then she comes with a cookie. I don't know why she comes with a cookie. She just does. But, you know, if you don't care about the cookie, put that to the side, and that's a decent minifigure. Got Leia on Endor there. Now we get to the really good stuff. We got a 212 Clone Trooper. He looks great. It is the kind that has the hole in the side of the helmet, but otherwise, you know, just another Clone Trooper for the Army. So never going to complain about more Army builders. And I like this new style of the gun with the candle piece on the end for the muzzle. I think that works kind of cool. And then I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's just, maybe it's supposed to mimic some type of, like, you know, transport or flying aircraft of some kind. I really don't know, but they show the trooper in here on the front of the box. So I don't care so much about the build, but I love the trooper, so I'm going to separate them. And then over here we have a battle droid on one of these. I know these have a name, and I apologize, it's escaped me at the moment, but I do like these little ships that they have for the battle droids, and this one's perfectly good. I mean, honestly, it's a simpler build, but I think it works. And so I like that. I think this is a win. I definitely like all of this. So we'll put all of this Endor stuff. I mean, some of these aren't bad. Like the little speeder's not bad, but again, I'll probably never utilize them for anything. So if we're looking at value, what I think you could actually get out of, you know, this, I love the battle droid with this flyer. I think that's fantastic. The Emperor in the chair, it's fine. It's not the best. Leia, definitely a good minifigure. 212 Trooper, definitely good. Omega, fantastic. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, the minifigures are what's doing it for me personally, but I do kind of like the little N1 Starfighter. I do kind of like the little AT-ST, and I'll sneak in the Hailfire droid and the Lambada class shuttle. So if you're thinking about this, minifigures are usually somewhere in the $4 to $5 a piece range. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minifigures, so even to kind of putting them at the bottom end of the value, you know, closer to 4, that's already your $24. You're getting the throne build, you're getting the flyer here, you're getting a couple little micro builds. Now, obviously, you're getting all of the micro builds, but I'm just saying in terms of, you know, this is really not doing anything for me. And even if you kind of get rid of all of these and just think about things you could utilize for like a collection of minifigure type stuff, I still think this is decent. I mean, honestly, even if you get rid of the sled, because the sled doesn't really matter. When you think about the fact that this is kind of the same exact Omega figure that's with the Justifier, and you're getting it for significantly cheaper, if you're trying to just go look on something like Brickset or Bricklink, something like that, this is probably going to be pretty expensive for people who are just kind of parting out the Justifier for the minifigs. So having an option to get almost exactly the same minifigure in a much cheaper set already, I feel like is worth it. But then on top of that, you're getting a couple Army Builder figures, you're getting a nice Leia, you're getting an Ewok, you know, kind of a fun Palpatine, not something you'll probably use in universe with the rest of your stuff, but just kind of a fun one-off, maybe Christmas decoration. And then you have the little pit droid. So honestly, I think the value is there. I mean, for the minifigures alone, even if you kind of just part out the rest of it, and that's the thing, you could just take the rest of these builds and, you know, just throw them in a bin, take them apart completely, throw them in a bin, use them for a mock, something like that. It's still viable Lego pieces. But even if you're buying it just for the minifigures alone, I think the $24 price tag is definitely worth it. So definitely keep checking Amazon. Like I said, it's about back up to 30 at this point, but I think if you could find it for, you know, around 25, I think it's definitely worth checking out for the value. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.